I'm Mich, president of the Nevada Broadcasters Association, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Nevada on the Air, a program that highlights the leaders, innovators, and out-of-the-box thinkers who are shaking things up throughout the state of Nevada. I'm extremely pleased to have Congresswoman Dina Titus on the program. Dina is a former UNLV political science professor, and I just want to read her resume because it's so impressive, actually. She served in the Nevada State Senate and was minority leader from 1993 to 2008, where she worked on energy issues and senior issues and managed growth and education, just about everything, really. She's currently in her fourth term in the House of Representatives, serving on a number of important committees, and she is tireless and relentless in defending the interests of Nevada.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Welcome to the show.
We were talking earlier. I think you've been interviewing me for a number of years, Mitch, so I feel very glad to be here with you again.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a long time. We're not going to tell everyone how long. It's been a long time. Let's just dive right into some of the more front burner issues that are hitting members of Congress.
Okay.
Gun violence. You know, we had this tremendous march in Washington, D.C. in a number of cities and even in Nevada.
Right.
You were kind of at the forefront of this issue before it started trending on Twitter, really. Remember the sit-in almost 2 years ago? Why is it so difficult to get people would term common sense reforms passed in Congress?
You know, it is hard to believe because it's not like you're taking away people's guns. You just want some things, as you say, that are common sense. And the public opinion is overwhelmingly in favor of those measures. Do you really need bump stocks? That doesn't help you when you go hunting or target shooting. Do you really need automatic weapons? Those are weapons of war, not weapons of recreation. And so I've been out there in front of this for a long time. And then when October 1 happened in my district, which was such a tragedy, you thought, well, maybe something will happen now. So, of course, nothing did. The NRA came out against it, and they just kind of hoped that it would go away. But now that this shooting has occurred on a school campus, and these young people are motivated, I think possibly you'll start to see some change. I was with them just this past weekend. We had about 2,500 people, I think, march from the Smith Center to City Hall, and I addressed the crowd. And it's really inspirational to see them out there saying, we want to take our lives back, and that schools should be places of learning, places where you're safe, not places where you're afraid to go. Now
then, those graduating seniors are the ones that need to vote. They need to tell their parents to go vote, because it's one thing to go march and a lot of people are commending them for their courage, but they're not old enough to vote, most of them.
Well, some of them will turn 18 by the time of the next election, but certainly by the presidential election. But that momentum, I think, will continue to build. You're right, it's a lot of fun to demonstrate. It's like a political hula hoop, for example. But you got to deliver, and they have started to change opinion. They are in the news. Folks are paying attention, and I think they're going to keep it going and building right up to the voting day.
Let's talk about online gaming. Earlier this month, you wrote to the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, and urged the Justice Department not to reverse a ruling it made in 2011 that allowed internet gambling in individual states. You know, some constituents get a little blurry-eyed about what's reversed and what's. Explain the issue, and why is it so important?
Well, I believe a regulated market is always better than a non-regulated one. There's going to be a lot of illegal betting, and so why not have it as part of the system? And Nevada knows how to do that better than any place else. There's a Supreme Court decision that will be coming down soon that will be regulating New Jersey when it comes to sports betting. We'll have to see where that goes, where that takes us. Nevada knows how to do this. We have internet gaming, we have sports betting, we have just about everything, and we have all the good rules in place. We set the gold standard. And so I think we should leave it to the states, respect states' rights, and let states decide how they want to do it. If we want to put some overall broad parameters at the federal level, okay, but let's don't get involved too much with people who are already doing it the right way.
And another issue that you've been at the forefront, and we're not going to tell people how long we've been talking about this on television. It's been a number of years, and that is Yucca Mountain.
Oh my gosh,
You know, we joke it's the issue that has a half-life of 24,000 years, right? So funding wasn't included in the omnibus,
That's
huge, big victory. Hats off to you and your colleagues as well. Where does it stand now relative to the Trump administration and the way they want to move forward on it?
Well, President Trump's budget had the money in there, but it didn't come out of Congress with the money in there, so that was a real plus for us. Shimkus on the House side just keeps pushing. He wants it Yucca Mountain. He represents Illinois. A lot of his donors are nuclear power companies. He wants to get the waste out of his backyard and put it in ours. There's not so much of a sentiment to push it on the Senate side, and with Heller facing a tough race, I think they're going to keep it from happening there to protect him. So we will continue to fight it. You know, this is going to cost billions of dollars more. That's one thing that goes in our favor, is where they're going to come up with the money to build it. We protest, we stand outside the hearing with the maps showing how many districts it travels through. I've testified a number of times. I've introduced the bill that calls for consent-based siting, because there are some places who'd like to have it. Some places in Texas, New Mexico has the WHIP project for the military waste. So I say you need to put it where people want it, not where people don't want it, like in Nevada, or where people don't use it or make it. We don't have nuclear power plants here. We don't make that waste. Why should we have to take it? So this issue will never go away, and we just need to keep fighting it.
Because Shimkus will not give up.
No, he won't.
He's just dug in, and he thought when Senator Reid left that he had
Exactly.
an opening.
Exactly.
And
that's why he pushed it.
Yeah, there does seem to be unanimity, though, among the business community. Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce is strong in its opposition. I think there's some members of the gaming community as well. So that united front has obviously helped over the years.
Well, that's right, and almost every elected official from both parties has been together opposing this. Right now, the governor, the only person who's not is Mark Amadei, who represents the North, and it's kind of surprising because public opinion up north doesn't want it any more than we do down here. I'm glad to see gaming getting more engaged than they were in the past. In the past, they were afraid to talk about it too much because they were afraid if it came, then they'd been saying how dangerous it was, it might negatively affect business. But now they realize it's all hands on deck. We've got to fight this together.
Where are we with DACA? You know, there really wasn't a fix that came out.
No.
We're still talking about the border wall. There's not really a comprehensive program on the table. Frustrating, right?
Very much so. I'm on the Dreamer bill. A lot of Dreamers live in my district. We need comprehensive reform, but in the meantime, we need to fix that particular problem. Donald Trump said he wanted to do it. Republicans say they want to do it, but they really don't. They won't include it in any major bills. We bring up the Dreamer bill every time we go to the floor. They won't allow it to even have a vote. I don't think between now and the election that you're going to see any kind of comprehensive legislation move forward. You've just got people living in limbo as they say, well, we're not really going after Dreamers. But if you look, you see that maybe not after Dreamers specifically, but after members of their family. So they're still living in fear. That's a lot of what our office does here in the district, is help people with visa issues, dealing with ICE, separated families. It's a tragedy.
You probably hear a lot of stories of the way that people are being split up and pulled apart and deported. People that have been here for years and years and years.
Exactly. And it's not just the Dreamers, you know, this temporary protected status. You've got people from El Salvador living in the district who've been here 25 years. They have families, they own homes, they own businesses. Now suddenly that protection is being taken away. It's the right thing to do morally, but it's also the smart thing to do economically. These people are contributing to our economy, to our society. It's terrible what's happening.
You know, 3 or 4 years ago, when you talk about a blue wave or the possibility that Democrats might take back leadership of the House of Representatives, people would look at you like, what planet are you on? But from my understanding, there's a real possibility that Democrats could take back the House of Representatives. Your thoughts?
Oh, I think absolutely there is. A number of things are happening. For one thing, it's a midterm election. That always favors the party that's out of the White House. And look back at history, there are very few exceptions to that. So that would be the Democratic Party now. You saw it when the Democrats were in the White House would favor the Republicans. In addition to that, the president's ratings are so low, and that's just a weight on the Republican Party and the Republican candidates because they're going to be associated with him, and I don't see that getting any better. A number of Republicans have resigned rather than run for re-election. Costello just this week had said he's not going to run in Pennsylvania. You've also seen some cases of redistricting that have gone our way, like in Pennsylvania, some in Texas, some in North Carolina, breaks open that gerrymandering, gives us a better chance. We've recruited great candidates. I think it could be a wave.
You're already serving on a number of important committees, and you've got the seniority. We'll have even more seniority as this attrition continues. The prospects, if the Democrats do take over the House of Representatives, for Congresswoman Dina Titus look really good. I mean, what does it look like in terms of committee assignments and leadership for you?
Well, I'm on the Foreign Affairs Committee, which I find extremely interesting during these times because so much is happening globally. And it's good for the district, too, because we've got people living in my district from all parts of the world. It's the most diverse district in the state. And people from all parts of the world come to Las Vegas. So that will be a way that I can promote international tourism. I'm also on the Infrastructure Committee, which I sought because, you know, here in District 1, I say we don't make anything except dreams come true. We have to import everything else, so transportation is critical. And right now, I'm the ranking member of the Economic Development Subcommittee, so I would become chairman of that. And that's a way we can get more federal dollars in here for projects like the water line out to Apex. I worked with North Las Vegas to get that put in. So there's some real, I-11 would be another thing I'd be right on the forefront for. So I think there's some good potential.
One last question, and that is, you know, you hear a lot about fake news.
Not you, though, Mich.
No, thank you. But in terms of the role of local broadcasters, you know, they really do play a role in terms of emergency alerts and Amber Alerts, and they really are connected to their local community. How would you distinguish, you know, this whole blanket fake news thing with the important role that local broadcasters have in the community?
Well, I think it's very important, and I always look forward to seeing them come back to the Hill to tell me what's going on in their industry. Not only are they important per se, but they help other businesses. You know, you're having your national convention here. You're going to bring in 100,000 people from around the world. That helps other businesses. You are kind of our conscience. You know, we have to count on you to let us know what's going on. You play a role in any kind of emergency, getting the word out, and just kind of telling our story. We need you there to tell us what's going on, tell us what's happening in the district, bring people's individual stories to light, because that's the most compelling way that you move policy. And the broadcasters do a great job of that.
Congresswoman Titus, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, you know, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank you for joining us as well. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.